Hey guys, since how you voted on this video, I'd say it's time to talk about it. Yep, it's time to talk about like how wise people really do get the worst of it. Like they really get the worst of it when their wisdom dies with them. Like a lot of wise people whose wisdom falls through the cracks. Like I'm serious. Like you have like a lot of wise, benevolent, sage advice giving people. Their wisdom falls through the cracks of history. And there's barely any wise people left who knows the difference. And I'm just saying, maybe sometimes people have an innate way of doing things, and the wise people have like a lot of crazy out there but still good ideas. And their nuggets of wisdom falls through. How can some people like let their wisdom die with them? Too many people go and have like wisdom being bestowed upon them, but they overlook it. This is true. Some wisdom goes unnoticed, and some wisdom is noted. Like, how many people go and ended up having like their own said like brand of wisdom, go and end up having to end up going from being like taken seriously to having all their wise like sayings, teachings, verbs, proverbs, whatever, being deeply overlooked. And some of them have like an issue with how things went down, with having their teachings and their very way of like living, and their biggest like time-tried issues with like knowing the difference between having said things that they were teaching falling on deaf's ear. And the young and the youthful blatantly taking it upon themselves to have their own teachings fall into obscurity. How many people went from being like venerated to having the youth overlook and overshadow them, and to not abide by the chaperoning skills that is the very wake of the youth going and letting these helpful but still dated but still helpful advice being forgotten, because these old wise sage-esque individuals go from being the ongoing and auspiciously popular people to go to for advice, fall into obscurity and irrelevancy, like irrelevancies. It's like treating somebody who has like a lot of years of wisdom with such irreverence when times change. So much wisdom and some kind-hearted, all begotten old-timers that were extremely kind-hearted, charismatic, all for the greater good and for the grace of the good type of good people. Old, elderly, good people with sharp wisdom and a kind heart die, and their wisdom dies with them. The kind of old people who took like auspicious but yet very, very, and I'm going to stress this, very risky chances on the youth to teach them something. Teach them about the ways of how things were. And how the way things were was how the way things were back when the old people were the youth themselves, speaking from experiences of their own nature. And the Excalibur, or the Excalibur of the caliber of the life lessons some of the old people had learned themselves when they were young, but to relegate that to obscurity in due time. Like, how do you go and just end up having like a bunch of people who were old people who were once young people go from being wise and learned a bunch about life and learned life lessons that they were taught from the old people, the elderly from their time, It's like laughably obnoxious. How can people go around and say, "Oh well, we have our own way of doing things. We have our own way of handling things." Then when they peep game on the way the world works, we have a lot of people going from being wise to being forgotten. And the young people really relegated themselves to not having anyone to teach them things, to teach them valuable things that they will need to learn, like early on in life. And some old sage-esque people go from having like their way of teaching things that were useful to them and to the young people of their time. They end up falling into obscurity, irrelevancy, if you will. We have people, full-grown people in their 30s and 20s, like full-grown people in their 20s and 30s, going and not knowing how to use these life lessons and these examples, because no one survived, no one who's older than them survived and stayed strong enough to show them how to enact and act and implement and utilize and activate these examples and these life lessons that they were taught. But I have my own experiences of fucking up, not listening to older people back when I was growing up. Half of the shit about like how to pay taxes or how to fix a house or how to get like the internet working. These are things, and especially paying bills online and doing online job applications and all that other shit, I pissed that away by pushing the older generation away and could have learned a thing or two from them. But when I figure this shit out on my own and figure out how to do shit, then, and let's not forget, learning how to fix a car. I could have learned that and doing like vehicle repair classes, and should have just kept my cool back when I was in like my adolescence, to have learned how to fix a car with ease. and would have figured out how to navigate this world. But when I end up becoming an extremely old son of a bitch, I will have enough wisdom to teach the younger generations. Assuming if the current generations, the Zoomers and Alphas, are ending up having kids, assuming if the Alpha generation would just stop being stupid, and a lot of the older generations superseding my generation, like assuming if the older generation is still around, like the boomers and Gen Xers that are like assuming or presuming if they're still around by the time I have like children of my own, and by the time I have grandchildren of my own, or a job for that matter, or a set of wheels for that matter, only time would tell. Maybe I could teach my kids something, teach them something, and with everything that could possibly go on, like a lot of old people end up dying before some of the shit that they were teaching the kids takes full effect. Like, before the shit that they were teaching kids takes full effect. Like, there's like I'm gonna say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11% of families actually do succeed, whereas another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 families would succeed. And another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 families are to succeed, where 1, 2, 3, 4, 5% of families that do not succeed, like 5% of families fail at putting their knowledge and nourish and plenish that knowledge into the heads of their offspring and their grand offspring and their great grand offspring, and their wisdom, their life lessons, and their lessons that they teach the youth ends up dying along with them. And that's a niche. And so many sage, old, elderly, wizard-esque type of like very smart and highly intelligent, wise with life lessons, because they've been there themselves. And they ended up like having the youth taking full advantage of the opportunities and take full advantage of their youth that they have, and wasting their youth mocking the older generations and the life lessons that the older generations was going to teach them. A lot of older generation type of people ended up having their life lessons that they were like wanting to implant and make sure that their life lessons that they have taught their kids and their grandkids and their great grandkids end up dying along with them instead of flourishing and being a generational type of thing. And the world that the old people have formed had yet ended up taking a hit when it comes to like a lot of the older generations, their life lessons fall on deaf ears, and generational familial education falls on deaf ears. And it's all because we have the young and the youthful and the stupid ending up going and falling victim to their own pride and arrogance. I mean, there are shit that I don't know and I'm struggling to figure out myself. Even though I'm in my early 30s, I struggled to listen to older people when I was growing up. I admit it. I fucked up when I was a kid. But who didn't? I'm just wanting to teach these young kids and speaking from experience. And you know what they say? You learn harsh life lessons from experiences. And you learn a hard lesson the hard way. If only if I could turn back time and prevent myself from being stupid enough to push away the life lessons that the older generation was trying to teach me, I could have done so much better with that knowledge. But I'm not saying that the older generations were all flawless and perfect angels, like perfect elderly angels. There's some shit that they need help with learning too. You can't just be 1,000,000,000% smart and knowledgeable and a end-all be-all fucking genius all the fucking time and boasting about it. I mean, I am humble enough to admit that not everything I know from like what the older generations has taught me. And there are some shit that I'm still struggling to figure out myself. The cooking, the cleaning, I can do that. But the taxes, I am struggling to figure that shit out. Home repairs, struggling to figure that out. And I have no knowledge of shit about how to fix a car, how to repair a car, how to fly a helicopter, plane, or spaceship. Those are things I'm not smart on. There's too many things, too many things, too many things too many things attached that could distract me. Like too many levers, too many levers and switches. Like, seriously. Like, seriously. Too many people, like old people, really want to relegate themselves to being too old and febile and not being able to continue on teaching because their time is coming to an end, and the younger generations are going to be so fucking screwed. The nuggets of wisdom that the old people were implanting, like the nuggets of wisdom that the old people were trying to plant, were the very life lessons that they were trying to teach. And a lot of the young people downplay and dismiss the older generations. And I'm guilty of that too. I'm guilty of that too. Dismissing and downplaying what the older generations were trying to teach me when I was much younger. Now that I am like 31 years of age, I'm slowly getting the hang of living on my own. But once I really start getting the hang of living on my own with a job, car, and then all that family shit will come later. I gotta build up my momentum. Now, if only if I would have had to have applied myself to getting a job, stayed in high school, getting a job while in high school, and would have gotten myself some like workman's experience, then going from getting like some workman's experience while being in my teens, working jobs, working summer jobs, And who knows? Maybe I could ask my little cousin who I watched. Literally, I watched this kid grow up while I was still going through my teens. Literally watched this kid grow up. And this kid, who is my cousin, is 19 years old, living on her own at such a young age. I mean, it took me until I was like, what, late 20s, early 30s to live out on my own. I was not in the best financial state or the best state of mind to move out on my own. I had nowhere else to go when I was this kid's age. When like this kid is this kid is literally my 19-year-old little cousin. I watched her grow up I was like 10 or 11 or 12, possibly 11 or 12, going through puberty, and alongside that, I watched my older cousin have this kid with his wife, who was his girlfriend slash fiance at the time. And I literally watched this kid grow up to become the older sister of her baby sister and her little brother. I also watched her little brother grow up as well. And now her baby sister, I'm watching her baby sister grow up as well. And I've also watched 3 of my other little cousins grow up. And 2 of my little male cousins don't got girlfriends. They're too busy with their own life. And I have like 2 little cousins who are females who have boyfriends and friends. And I also watched my oldest little cousin grow up, and she was like born in 2005, and she has a kid. I watched her grow up from a baby to a 20-year-old. I watched her grow up while I was growing up myself. She was the eldest little cousin of mine. I'm watching all my little cousins grow up. One is now a young adult, and one is going to become a young adult. One is a little 7-year-old child, and the rest are teenagers. And these kids, they themselves act like I did not have a childhood, which was kind of unfair because I had a childhood. I was a kid once. I was growing up and going through my adolescence and my youth and my teens. And I was like back in like the early 90s, a lot of us younger millennials, a lot of us were born in the 90s, and a lot of us older millennials were born in the 80s. Some of the older millennials are heading into their 40s. Some of the older millennials that were born in the early 80s were the ones who were in their early to mid 40s. And some of us younger millennials are following suit. You gotta admit, dude, a lot of us millennials thought that we were the youngest generation ever. All cocky and all prideful, like, we're the youngest generation. We're the youngest generation. Screw you, old people. And then it came full circle. Gen Z, our Gen Z kids were born. And then our Gen Alpha grandchildren were born. And we all know that the Alpha generation, the younger Alpha generation, which I am gonna go out on a limb and just say, the Alpha generation is the youngest generation ever, along with the Zoomers that are the second youngest generation ever. And the millennials used to be the youngest generation for about 3 decades. A lot of us millennials grew up in the 80s, in the 90s, and some of us younger millennials were going into our teens and out of our childhoods in the 2000s. And some of us younger millennials were going from being in our early teens, because I was 13 in 2007. In 2007, I was 13 years old. In 2006, I was 12. In 2005, I was 11. In 2004, I was like 10, if I'm not mistaken. I was 10 years old. And in 2009, I was like in like 2009, I was like 15, 14, 15. And in 2010, I was like 15 to 16. And then in 2000, in like in 2013, I think I was like 16 to 17. And in 2014, I was like 17 to 18. I don't know. I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure back in like 2007, I was 13 years old. And in 2006, I was 12. I went into, and in 2005, I was 10 years old. And I myself, if I'm not mistaken, back in 2005 when I was 10 years old, if I'm not mistaken, I was finishing my last year in elementary school before the summer of 05 hit. And then, after the summer of 05, 2006 rolled around, I went into middle school. I was going into my teens in the mid to late 2000s. All I know from my experiences is that I was going through my early to mid-teens. I was going into my early teens in the mid to late 2000s. I was still a kid back in the 2000s. I was still a kid. And I was still a kid in my mid to late teens in the 2010s. In the early to mid 2010s, I was still a teenager around that time. Then in the mid to late 2010s, I was going into my 20s. Then in the early to mid 2020s, I entered my late 20s, early 30s. I am 31 years old in 2025. 30 years! I spent 3 decades as a kid and a young adult. And there are like a lot of life lessons I've learned. Don't do stupid shit and you won't get in trouble. Take advice and feedback, man. That's all you have to do. I'm just saying. a lot of old people end up dying, and their life lessons falls on deaf ears. So anyways, yeah, old people die and their like wisdom dies with them because the youth just don't take it seriously.